So if I am a disabled person that is currently being funded for 7 hours of support a day, and that level of support is what is necessary for me to keep my job, right? Without that, that's the amount of work hours that I have in my roster. If I don't have that, I lose my job. And under this bill, the minister determines a level of support, a number of hours that is less for me than that 7 hour period that I need. You say, oh, well, Jordan, you can only have supports for 5 hours. You're saying to me that it is then my freedom to choose whether I accept that 5 hours, which will cause me to lose my job, or somehow find the money to fund the 2 hour difference.
Senator, employment supports won't be impacted by the support determination. As we were outlining a little earlier in our evidence, that's not in scope for that support determination.
It's not in scope of the support determination. That was your evidence, was it? So you are saying that cutting somebody's social and community participation funding will not impact their employment?
That's correct, Senator.
Mr. Swain, so who is the agency? You are the agency representative. It is still the policy of the agency to encourage people to spend their plans flexibly.
That's correct. That's correct, Senator.
And so people often draw from their social and community participation for activities such as employment, don't they?
That's correct.
Correct,
Senator.
Yes, they do. So by cutting that social and community participation support by 50%, that impacts their employment, doesn't it?
Senator, that's correct, but the converse is also correct. So if there's an item of support in their plan which they wish to acquire or use, and they don't have sufficient funding for that type of support, they can use their plan flexibly and from other parts of the plan to fund that support. So,
but what if they're short? What if there isn't the flexibility for the extra hours?
So, can I clarify Ms. Rule's evidence? The government's intention is that the 50% SCCP reduction not apply to the portion of SCCP on employment supports.
But what, I'm really sorry, but in the name of all that is holy, what do you mean? Because your colleague has just said funds are used flexibly. All right? So if you cut from one bucket, it means they cannot use it for another. It cannot flow across. So what do you mean that it is the government's intention that it doesn't affect employment?
Senator, may I clarify?
Please do.
When we can calculate today your SCCP support, there are line items underneath which include for employment supports. So that will be to support someone with the necessary supports for them to be in employment. And that includes, on occasions, having a support worker potentially there to support them in the employment. What is being looked at in the legislation, I don't wish to speak for the department, is that that component of SCCP is not intended to be reduced, and I'll let them clarify that. But it is in the SCCP today, not reduced.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Maitland. You're talking about circumstances in which social and community participation is broken down into somebody's plan by those elements of employment, etc. Now, that only occurs in situations where a participant is funded, say, for a support worker because they are part of a Australian Disability Enterprise or other structures such as that. It doesn't account for when people, again, at the agency's encouragement, have used other items within their social and community participation budget to flexibly use their funds to then cover their employment supports. I'm sorry, but this is such a common practice. This is how Disabled people have made ends meet at a time when plans have been often seeing year-on-year reductions, and agency officials who I have been interacting with have assured me in certain constituency cases that I shouldn't panic on behalf of my constituent about somebody's support levels in relation to their work, because they can take it flexibly from other parts, other items, and have it flow through. It's not there to flow if it's cut in half. So you can't ring fence it, can you?
So I just, because I really would like to help here, because we understand the importance of keeping participants in the employment market and supporting that, and we're very, very sincere about that. Today, when we look at it, we might suggest that someone needs, and I'll use an example, 3 hours a day, and 5 days a week, it's 15 hours. That when we calculate it through our planning process, we would then put in 15 hours of support in our calculation tools for employment supports. And so what we are saying is that 15 hours, which we've worked through with the participant in the planning process when we do it, will not be cut in the future. Now, if you're suggesting that they're also using funds flexibly to go above what we've recorded as employment supports, then I understand your question.
Yes, I am. But also there's this wild thing called disabled people applying for jobs, right? So disabled people moving from one job to another, as I would hope the government would want them to, right? To progress in their career. And we have heard, and quite frankly, you should know, all of you, that many disabled people require support when they leave their homes, from the moment they leave their home to the moment they return. And the fact that they receive that support, need that support, in no way undermines their dignity or basic humanity, right? So you can't go out and apply for a job, get to the interview, to then get the job with the funding in that part of your social and community participation plan, because you don't have the job at the time you apply. You do the application process and supports with the other elements of the community participation funding, correct?
So, Senator, what I would say is that you're quite correct in saying in the capacity building in daily activities line, we will build on capacity to get a job and work with employment and all those things.
That's correct. I'm sorry. That's about building your capacity to end
go and get a job.
And it's not about the journey from the door to the interview. That's not capacity building.
No,
that's social and community participation.
Correct, Senator. If they then obtain employment and they need employment supports as part of their CCP, we would then encourage them to come back to us, and that is a change of circumstance that would be reassessed, and we will put supports in the plan to enable them to have that employment. So yes, they will.
How are they meant to get to the interview? How are they meant to get to the interview, folks?
Sorry.
How are they meant to get to the interview?
With their transport supports, or is that where you're going?
No, the transport support covers the maxi taxi, right? Doesn't cover the support worker to help you in and out the taxi and then into the building where you do the interview. Yes? Yeah. So that is covered by the non-employment parts of social and community participation, because you don't have the job yet and you've already obtained the capacity to apply for the job. Correct?
Correct, Senator.
Yeah, and that is the part that will be cut, correct? Because it is not the ring-fenced employment line.
I see what you're saying, Senator. What I would say is, if there are supports that are needed to get you to that location, if there are things that need to be done, we do that during the planning process with the participant.
But you don't know what jobs you're going to apply for when you go through the planning process, man. Like, come on, this is human life. You all live it. You all live this. this flexibility, this fluidity. It doesn't exist in little boxes. But you, like, come on. I've known a lot of you for a while now. You're clever people. This is not rocket science. This is the basic of getting a job, which, my God, we can all get politically on board with the idea that disabled employment should rise, right? So again, the funding that would support you to get from your door to your job interviews, not the funding once you have your job and not to build the capacity to go for the interview. That funding, that will be subject to the cut, correct?
Senator, just if there is funding in the plan for the transport, that you have transport funding.
Not the car, Mr. Maitland, not the car, the support worker. I'm very aware of the transport fund.
Yes.
Yes, it will be cut, correct?
There would be a cut to your SCCP, correct?
All right. Thank you.
That's not to zero. And it doesn't mean
It's
the funds that
50%.
you can
No,
use.
it's 50%, and it's 50%. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's 50% because that's what the current government intends. Your legislation allows it to go to 99% of its current value, correct? The minister can cut social and community participation to 99% of its current value.
That's not what the government has announced.
It's not what they've announced, Ms. Rule. I understand it's not what they've announced, but the legislation enables a reduction in support of 99.99%. Correct?
The reduction needs to be for Senate. It would need to be for financial sustainability reasons.
Can go as low as 99.9%.
The provision says a percentage lower than 100%.
Which is 99.99%.
That's one number below.
It is, yes.